All right, everybody, let's paint the Green Goblin. Marvel Crisis Protocol. My palette here is, it's probably could use a little extra water. Let's load it up. This is distilled water in the squeeze bottle. Try to move it in a bit so we can see most of it on stream here. That's what I got so far. I think I was working on this Bone Reaper character, so my palette's kind of a mess, but I think we'll just find a spot maybe like in here to use for our greens. And I think we'll go with the green skin first. I already have them somewhat base coated. I did the torch, just not on stream, and what I honestly probably should have done is actually washed his skin before I turned on this video, but we're going to try to make it work anyway. So I'm going to get out, where's that? Militarum green or whatever it's called, contrast paint. Trying to find it. There it is. So what we'll do is we'll start with this contrast Militarum green. It looks pretty separated. So let's give this a shake for a minute. While I'm shaking, let me know in the comments, in the chat, what you're working on. Move this to the side. This here's the Necro paint pot holder that I have designed for the current Kickstarter. Link in all the videos. Ghost Tiny is the Kickstarter if you want to check it out. It's the third successful Kickstarter that I've done. And we'll just bring out our nice beat up number 6 Ghost brush. This one's been through a lot and it's still going strong. So I guess I'm probably going to have to just hold them here at the... I got excited and glued them all together. Probably should have kept them a little more separate. But let's just put a coat of our Militarum contrast green. I'm not going to cover all the green. I'm going to try to keep it a little more to where maybe the shadows are. So like underneath the legs, underneath the jawline, the neck, underneath the arm where maybe there's not as much light hitting it. Not trying to douse the whole model, which isn't a bad idea in the beginning stages, but since I already have worked on him a little bit, I don't need to do that. So there we go. Just put in basically a darker green shadow. Get that paint out of the way. And the greens I'm going to use, I believe, are Orc Olive or Ordic Olive P3. And we'll just put that there. Normally I have this a little more organized, but I was messing around on stream and I just wanted to try a bunch of colors. So normally I wouldn't have the greens right here on the palette, but that's where they're going right now. And then we got Golden Olive from Vallejo. I think I'll make a new palette pot here. So that's got maybe too much black paint in it. So I'll show you how I do that. So I just put a little water bottle top, AK Ultra Matte varnish. Put some little drops in there and distilled water. And we'll just stir that up a little bit. And that's kind of our paint mixing medium. It's going to help matte everything down. So I think the best strategy is going to be to do all the green skin, then the purple cloth, and then the strap pouch thing, and then maybe the pumpkins last. Sammy 3D, what's going on? How's it going? So let's see if we can get most of that palette in. Actually, you can see here I drew a line on my palette just so I know where about you guys can see. And there we go. All right, so let's just start with maybe a mixture of the two and a little bit of the mixture we got there. And we'll just try to highlight the anatomy of his muscles. It's pretty thin, so hopefully it kind of naturally blends for us. But we're not going to stress out about it. It's just not a big deal. I think the final little touches will be what really make or break how good he looks. So yeah, we'll just get some of this lighter green. Kind of loosely painted in on somewhat of the kind of high surfaces, or the surfaces that would be like facing the sun. And just a little bit on the back of those thighs. And then we'll hit the ears and the face. And I think I'll just ignore the neck. I think we'll just leave that dark. This guy might be a little kind of small for the stream, but whatever. Let me know what you guys are working on. I haven't actually played it either. I just bought some of the guys and figured I'd give it a try. And then also I've had, I had really good luck selling my painted Hulk before I had any interest in even trying the game. So I figured, well, at the very least, I could just sell them if I don't love the game. We'll take a little, this yellow over here is ice yellow. It's a really neat color. And we'll go ahead and mix a little bit of that into our mixture here. And start bringing in some highlights on the face. And just trying to basically make this green skin somewhat interesting. I might actually even add a little bit of like pinkish flesh tone into the face and knees and elbows. I think that could look kind of neat. Usually I don't think the Green Goblin really like has kind of flesh tones in him, but he's also in comics, they're just kind of solid colors usually. So if somebody was going to make him more realistic, then he might. So I think we might actually do that as well. And I'll probably just switch to a smaller paintbrush right after I kind of block in some of this. There we go. All right, let's switch over. Actually, I feel like this could use a little more. There we go. Yeah, I actually traded some high elves for the Marvel Crisis Protocol base game. So it wasn't a direct buy there, but I have bought about 6 of the little expansions. I think you might have seen this one, but I have Kingpin painted up. So right now we're working on the Green Goblin to join him. All right, let's go into one of the new paintbrushes. We'll get out the Ghost Tiny. And it's probably impossible to see. There's no way to zoom in on this. Let me see if there's some kind of secret setting or something. I don't think there is. I just have the stream. I'm just going with just straight, hit the go live button on YouTube. So I think there's absolutely no camera settings. Yeah, there's none. So looks like you probably have I guess this is mostly just a paint hangout and not as much as a valuable painting stream because he's too small to really see, I think. Unless you guys can see him on your computers. Just taking this kind of ice yellow mixed with some greens and just kind of picking out the details on his face. You gotta be careful with these little brushes. You gotta keep them wet or keep rinsing them because you don't want to let paint dry on your little detail brushes. But they're really nice for the precision of getting these tiny little facial details. Kind of edge highlighted in or whatever. Cool. So there we go. It looks like I think I might go ahead. I'm just going to take one of these kind of gray blue tones over here. And I think I'll just go ahead and put the eyes in. I honestly can't remember if Green Goblin has like a colored eyeball or not. But we could change it later if we need to. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's one sweet advantage of the sharp little brush is you just neck those eyeballs in one swoop. And we'll take maybe just like a bone color with some of this ice yellow. and see if we can't get his teeth. There we go. And then I'm going to take a little bit of one of these pinkish tones and just mix it on the side here with some of that green. That'll give us our lip color. Could probably go a little more. There we go. Just try to put in the lip. Cool. Oh yeah, the Stynylrez primer. I've been just lazy and doing a lot of rattle can stuff, but I got usually a lot of times I'll do the black rattle can, just the Rust-Oleum. But then when I do like the Zenithal, I always go over to the Stynylrez for that kind of final coat. Looking at the box, it looks like, well, the box art Green Goblin here has, it's maybe a little hard to see because the glare. He has kind of just white eyes, but on the miniature that they painted, looks like they went yellow. So maybe we'll add a little yellow. I could see they probably went yellow to kind of tie it in with the bombs and the torch coming out. See if we can't take some of this pinkish tone and put it on his cheeks and in his ears. Kind of give him the, maybe that there's like life. Although I think he might just be wearing a Goblin suit. I honestly can't remember. I actually have some Spider-Man comics, but I don't remember Green Goblin's origin of like, is he just Osborn in a suit, or is he transformed by something into the Goblin? All right, we'll go ahead and put this kind of fleshier green onto the elbow and knees. And be careful. Keep your brushes damp with the little brushes. All right, maybe we don't need it, but I don't like that. This was a Scorpia green. And we can take a little bit of that and add it into our highlight here to boost kind of saturation of green. And we'll do another highlight here. I don't really want him overly bright green, but I'm not sure he looks that interesting as I have him right now. So we'll just basically add this kind of more saturated green highlight onto them. And you know what? I think I'll actually go back to some of this kind of darker green and maybe glaze it over the knees a little bit. They might be a little too pink. And there we go. Cool. So that's not too bad. I think we could even maybe take a touch of our white, mix it into our blue, and add a highlight dot onto our eyes. Basically, I'm just putting a dot of lighter blue onto the blue sphere. Give them a little bit of a boost. And we'll probably wash them. So I think he's okay, actually. I think we'll move into the purples. I don't know if I really have... All right, I got this royal purple from Game Color. The Project of Hashut. What's going on, man? Welcome. We're just working on the little green goblin here. I know he's pretty small. So I do like on YouTube, you just hit go live and the camera looks nice, and I think it's pretty decent looking. But I think I need to figure out how to maybe get it zoomed in, or yeah, maybe I could zoom it in a little bit. This is kind of a mess of reds up here, but we'll just add our purple into that area. And that should be fine. Maybe we'll go like, I don't know. I was thinking maybe we could mix the purple with a little bit of, oh, here we go. We'll maybe use like this Indian shadow color from Scale. And I think it's somewhat over here. Can you see that? You can see it. We'll go back to a bigger brush right now because I can kind of block in this highlight. So it was kind of, I think, the darkest purple, like Shaiish purple contrast. And then now let's thin that down a bit. Basically the same thing. We'll kind of just try to block in our kind of highlight areas. I want this purple to look more natural. Right now it does not. I'm gonna need to desaturate it, but if we keep it thin and we go over this darker purple, then hopefully it's not too much of a jump and still have some maybe resemblance of like a natural purple. This is personal taste, but I kind of like when these little Marvel miniatures are treated a little bit more, treated with like a little bit more realism than like, I mean, the obvious choice is like full on comic book style, but I think they look pretty cool if you give them a little extra touch of realism, not just bright green, bright purple, bright white eyes, bright yellow fire, like you would see in a comic book. But I don't know. When I see them on the table, I want to see them maybe like they have a little bit more life in them. And right now we're just putting this purple on them, which I don't love, but it's bringing him up a bit in brightness, so it's a good start, I guess. But it is more purple than I was planning on. But when we go highlighting, if we just maybe keep our highlights a little more desaturated neutral colors, maybe we can hide a bit of this kind of brighter purple look. So yeah, nothing too crazy here, just trying to block in our kind of highlight purple, clean up a little bit of the edges around some of the green if we can. I think that's kind of one of the more important parts of a little guy like this, little model, is clean separation between details. So if we can get a pretty clean separation between, like, say, where the hood goes over the head. There we go. Nice. All right, so that's a little, sorry, not a lot of talking right there, just because there's some sketchy areas where you try to not have to redo the skin underneath, or at least not much of it. Cool. All right. So I think I'm gonna let that guy dry for just a second. Yeah, tomorrow I actually don't have any gaming planned. Seeing if my buddy, oh, look, I got a message on Facebook. Let's see. I got a buddy who's maybe we're gonna play AOS tomorrow. I might try out the Sons of Behemoth Giants. Haven't played AOS in quite a while. All right, let's just cheat. We'll go straight to this panel line color. And I'm going to line the areas where this purple cloth meets the skin. try to really darken those areas up to hopefully create a nice separation of, where the skin's going into the boot or the arms going into the shirt. And then hopefully this will dry in time while we work on the purple highlights. The lines in the sculpt aren't super, super deep, the recesses, so this panel liner's not totally finding the areas to darken, but I think it's working good enough. I mean, this guy's basically, my thought is I'm going to somewhat collect the Spider-Man villains. So when I get a chance to play the game, he'll be one that I'm playing with, so he can be like tabletop quality or whatever. Actually, they all can. It's kind of weird when you paint models and sell painted models like I do. I don't know if it's like a sweet spot, or there's definitely a gap on like how much more time you got to put in to make it, X amount better. But is it worth it? Like, if I make him a nice quality tabletop standard, is he worth so much? Like, if he was for sale, is he worth enough more to make it worth the time? And I'm going to say, honestly, usually no. Like, you'd be, ooh, that looks good. Maybe I can get the teeth. That came out good. So usually, like, let's say I don't know if he's like $30 or something. Yeah, the panel liner it's like ink, but it has a really low surface tension. I don't know if you watched that video where I painted this base in like 2 minutes. It's called like paint this in 120 seconds or something. But you can just put this on and it just bleeds through all the cracks and basically black lines all the details. And they come in colors too. This one's the dark brown. It's the only other one I have. But almost in every case, I feel like the black is just better than, like, maybe if, maybe on my skeletons, when I'm working on them, maybe I'll start using some of this. That's not a bad idea. So maybe the dark brown for like really brown, bone, leather kind of stuff, but the black is probably better in all other cases. It's kind of hard to see probably, but you see on like his arm and leg there, where the panel liner kind of bled out over it, it just kind of leaves like a hazy darkness. So only if it dries kind of in the recesses is it that dark, but so it's kind of nice. It kind of just gives you a variety of kind of shadow. I think we can still use a decently big brush. Let's go with like maybe a 3 or something and figure out how to make the highlights on this outfit. But yeah, I think I have links to the panel liner in some of my videos. You can get on Amazon, or if it's Tamaya brand. So if you have like a store near you that sells, I'll show you. I was gonna say, if you have a store that like specializes in scale models, like model tanks and stuff, they'll probably have it. Here, I'll show you on this guy. So this is a Blackheart miniature bust. This is the black panel line. It actually has a little applicator sort of tip built into the bottle. It's like a little plastic brush. And let's see, I'll just show you here on the eye. Make sure that's in. And you can just touch it, and hopefully you can see it bleed around the eye. Here on this. You can, oh, that's too much. You can put it like here, and you see how it bleeds through. Right here. So people used to paint their models and they would like black line details with like black paint. And it's really nice on small scale models because it helps separate details because they're little. But so this is kind of a fast, easy way to do that. It has a bit of a smell, but it's fine. So hopefully that helped you. All right, so purple plus yellow is complementary color. So first off, let's get this purple over here and just mix it into this kind of tan color. Get somewhat of a mud. I'm going to take a bit of that ice yellow. Maybe a bit of this flesh tone. There we go. Desaturate that a bit. And try to build up some more highlight interest into the purple. I'm going to say it's probably not desaturated enough. I don't think I've ever successfully painted a purple model that I really, really like. So I think we're going to just stick to that being the case and just get him done. Just good enough will be done, will be good enough. And I think he'll look decent enough that, you know, he'll be a decent Green Goblin. And we'll just try to work around the purple. I don't actually even love like treating all of this purple the same, you know, but I think that's just kind of how he looks. Meaning like, you know, the pants being the same as the shirt, as the boots, as the gloves. I think that's just kind of his style. And so we'll just work around, get the purples blocked in, trying not to pick up any of that panel liner, which is still definitely wet. Because I don't think it's truly like water. I'm not even sure if it's water-based. The way it smells, it doesn't seem like it's water-based, so I always just use it with that applicator in the bottle. So that's probably something worth checking. Maybe if I use like an old paintbrush and actually check if I can clean that off of an old paintbrush or not. But because it comes with that little handy dandy applicator, I've never had to actually worry about that. All right, there we go. He's kind of blocked in. And I think we'll switch over to one of the little Ghost Tiny brushes and maybe just pick out like some little highlights. All right, so let's maybe take this ice yellow. You know, I should do this with a bigger brush. These little Ghost Tinies are any little brush like this, like a little teeny tiny brush. You're probably better off not really mixing with it unless it's just a real little thing. So I'm going to just take this busted brush and just get some of that yellow. Mix it in over here with some of that purple. There we go. Got kind of a desaturated highlight type color. Now we'll take this color with our little brush. And I'm going to do kind of my tap highlight on kind of just the prominent folds and stuff, only on the kind of top facing elements of the purple. And once again, with these little brushes, you got to keep washing them. So we'll just go a little bit more and then I'll give it a rinse. And I'll give it a little rinse. This is a little bit of that kind of almost comic style because it's quite a jump, maybe too much. I don't even think I highlighted that glove. No, I didn't. I didn't highlight either glove. Hold on. What the heck am I doing? I gotta go back. Good thing I have a wet palette, so this is still wet here. So let me actually highlight this glove a little bit. And this one. That way that next highlight doesn't look so crazy. Yeah, that panel liner, I mean, if you were painting like a Space Marine eye, you know, that eye lens on the Space Marine helmet, or pretty much any miniature, especially a 28 mil miniature, if you're painting like the eye, if you can just get, you know, the color in the right spot, and then you hit the little corner of it with the panel liner, and it'll basically put that dark line around your eyeball with no effort. All right, let's just chop in a few more little highlights. This is just giving him a little bit of a dramatic lighting. It's probably not super realistic. But purple is one of those colors that I just don't love. Certainly don't love painting it. It just doesn't, it's highlighting and shading just always seems a little wonky to me. All right, we'll chop in a little bit on his boot here, just on the side. Then on the little top of the toes. Give that a rinse. Don't want any paint to dry on there. It's kind of nice since I got these little Ghost tiny brush set. It's because I actually usually just paint with a larger brush, you know, the sixes and whatnot. And it's kind of nice remembering, oh yeah, if you grab the small brush, you can actually put in those little details that maybe you would normally just skip. And I think that's about it for the purple. I think using this kind of gray or highlight color is nice because it does help remove some of that saturated purple look. That I don't love. You know, we should probably just go ahead and get the back of these boots a little bit better. There we go. Cool. Yeah, if you wanted to get real technical, you could go with like, you know, this flame maybe would be lighting up some of them underneath. The flaming pumpkins in his hands probably are going to be lighting up around his hands. We might do that later. Let's just, what's his little pouch look like? Looks like kind of a gray blue. So I guess that's what we'll do. Just gonna take a little scoop of Celestra Gray. We'll just put it up there. And I'm gonna mix some of it into this. Maybe get some of this darker blue here. There we go. Maybe a little bit of that black too. We'll get like a, I don't know, Ghost 3 or something. I think we can go a little darker. trying to get this pouch in just one try without having to do too much cleanup or nothing. Just be done with it. One thing, by purposely trying to desaturate our highlights and our purples and stuff, it gives us a little bit of I guess, advantage in making the flames on the pumpkins and stuff look like they're glowing a little bit more. I mean, it's never going to look like it's truly glowing, but if you get creative with your colors and desaturate all the cloth and skin and only keep the fire saturated, then you got a better shot at it looking like it's actually on fire. There we go. And we'll just take some of this kind of cream color, mix that in, and that'll be our highlight. Yeah, we'll just kind of tap it on. It's just a little pouch, so it's not a big deal. I might have had, too much paint on my brush there. Try to wipe that away a little bit. Nope, that didn't work at all. Got to go back and darken that a little bit. There we go. Go back to our highlight here. See if we can't tap on a few little marks onto our strap. This would be another good time for the little teeny tiny brushes, but I'm just being lazy and just want to get this little strap kind of half-ass painted in. There we go. This little pouch is fine. We'll go back to the size 6. Get some of this cadmium flesh, cadmium skin from Vallejo, and base coat our pumpkins with it. Trying to avoid the purple just because I don't want to paint the purple again. That's kind of a good rule of thumb for painting in general. Try to avoid the things you already painted so you don't got to paint them again. A lot of times if I make a mistake and get a color onto something I didn't want, I don't worry about painting it again as much as I'll just hit it with a highlight, and that'll be a spot that randomly now is highlighted. But I think I did an okay job around the hand there. So I don't know if I actually probably will highlight the fingers a little bit. Because although I am lazy, I want them to look fully painted, so probably got to put a little bit of effort into the hands. All right, so those little pumpkins are base coated with the pink flesh tone, cadmium skin. It came from this little pot that came with my Chimera WizKids model paint set that I got for like a little store painting competition. So just trying to use it up. And we'll actually take that Celestra Gray and paint our little smoke plumes. And then I think we just kind of, well, I guess I could work on the hands a little bit while maybe he dries. Because then we'll wash the pumpkins with an orange wash. Give them a little bit of that fire look. There we go. We got some pumpkins with smoke, base coated. And just out of, it ties the model together a little bit. I'll go ahead and use that same highlight on the smoke to just highlight his bag just a little bit more. There we go. Just put a little highlight on the bag. Actually, you know what? We'll go ahead and put a little bit of that too in the center of the strap. So there's like a bright spot on the strap, maybe on the front and back. All right, let's get those little tiny brush out again. The bad dad DJ, the badad DJ, the bada DJ. This right here. So yeah, I'll show you. I just make it for my wet palette as my overall thinner, and it is AK Interactive Ultra Matte Medium, which is what I matte coat my models with when they're done, and distilled water. And then I just keep the distilled water in the little squeeze bottle. You can buy it for like 99 cents a gallon or whatever. And that way it's just a clean water with the matte medium. And that's what I use to thin down the paint that is already, somewhat thinner than normal because it's on a wet palette. But I don't keep my wet palette overly wet. This is more, it reminds me of how like an oil paint would feel. Like if you rub your finger through it, you get a creaminess to it, not like a watercolor or thin glaze type style that some people do. I used to do some oil painting. This feels more comfortable to me as far as like the consistency of the paint. Like some people don't like the paper this palette comes with, because it doesn't let as much water come through. Whereas I prefer this because it just keeps it like slick and creamy. We'll take a little bit of that flesh tone back into our purple here. And I'm just going to hit the fingertips. Maybe like where the knuckles are. This hand over here is not great. I didn't do a great job on it. I'll try to clean that up a little bit. Oh, and thank you for the kind words. Yeah, if I knew anything about filming or video editing or something, I could probably make a better stream. But for now, this is... I was using some of the other software to stream, but I actually think the camera looks nice when you just literally hit go live on YouTube. Although I did buy some little things to maybe upgrade the video quality if I learn how to use them. And I'm just putting some little dot highlights into the purple. All right, let's do the fun part. So I just tried this for the first time in the last stream, and it's basically just orange wash, but this is the instant color ragweed orange. I've done like oil washes before, and I've watched like James Wapple. He'll do the oil painting miniatures. It does look cool. But I don't know, when I acrylic paint, I put the brush in my mouth to re-tip it. Like after I rinse the brush off camera in the water, I reshape the brush in my mouth. And oil paints are really toxic. So, I don't know. I mean, it'd just be a habit I have to break. There we go, ragweed orange, instant color. Let's get some... Just going to use this beat up GW wash brush. I'll take a scoop of a dip in the water medium mixture there and thin it a bit. And I think these should be dry. So we're going to turn them orange now. What we did was just like a flesh tone. And now we're just putting an orange wash over that flesh tone. Give them a little bit of like a highlight glow kind of look. See, they kind of look like they're bright. I don't know. I think they look cool. And I'm trying not to totally fill in their eyes and mouth with the orange wash. That's what I'm doing here is I'm wiping the excess paint off the brush, using it as like a little sponge to kind of absorb it out of the eyes and mouth of the pumpkin. There we go. It's got kind of a cheap little glow. And what the heck, the box art has a little bit of a yellow glow on his eye. So let's just take a little bit of that orange. See if we can't tint his eye a little yellow or a little orange. And it's pretty unnoticeable. You could even take like some of this orange wash and mix it on the palette with some of your cadmium, or maybe mix it in here and then kind of tap in maybe a little bit of more opaque orangey kind of wash. There we go. That looked good. I'm going to take that little ghost tiny brush, see if we can't get maybe some white mixed with some of that ice yellow. Put our I don't even really do the pupils on these little things, but put that little light back in the eye. All right, we'll get the panel liner out again because I think that pouch is dry. Hopefully. So here's the Tamiya panel liner. Yeah, I used to oil paint, so I have a lot of oil paint materials still. I've actually debated on like maybe buying a canvas and doing like trying to do a little oil painting again. I haven't done it in a long time, but yeah, I think that could be fun. So we're just going to use this as kind of our catch-all black liner shadow. Anywhere where two surfaces are kind of coming together, we're going to black line it. Run this along the side. Like here under this pouch. Give it a shadow along the pouch here. Both sides. We're just trying to build a lot of contrast on it. And we'll do it where his shirt overlaps his pants. That way, even though they're the same color and highlight, maybe there's some separation achieved. Underneath the boots, where they kind of fold over, those old superhero style boots. Basically, we're just saying that's probably shadow, so panel liner is going to make it a shadow, whether we like it or not. And I think no, it's going to be too wet. Almost got me. I was going to say we could put it around the hand. Oh, we could do it on the back of the gloves here. Where is that? Put that line on the gloves. Oh, getting off camera here. Putting the separation in the fingers. There we go. Ooh, this hand got real wonky. Hopefully panel liner saves it. Close enough. Maybe we can put a little extra in the glider. All right. Oh, we should get underneath the pouch too. So the pumpkin's got to dry, but I will put actually this panel liner around the hands on the pumpkins too. And then probably just do a little bit of a highlight on the smoke. I'll probably put the panel liner on the smoke and then just highlight it. So I don't think we need, I'm just going to add a little extra detail here. So this will be a little fun thing to see, maybe. So we're going to get our little water bottle cap and dry pigment. I think I have one that's like concrete. This one's green earth, but I think honestly it being maybe a hint of green will tie in with the goblin there. So we'll go with that one. So if you're ever curious how to make your pigments paintable, but look completely dry when they're dry, the correct answer is Vallejo Airbrush Thinner. Now they do make products for this. I believe I have it. I don't like it. Maybe I don't have it anymore. Hold on, let me see. I might have got rid of it. Where is it? They make products that are called like pigment binders and stuff. And that kind of turns it into more like a paint. Whereas this will dry. So it'll look dry again. And we might actually be able to see that in a short amount of time. So actually, I'll get 2 bottle caps. So we'll put Vallejo Airbrush Thinner in one. This is like a super beat up brush I use for like texture paint and stuff. And we're going to take that brush and put our pigment in our little cap, then wet our brush in the Airbrush Thinner. You see here we got somewhat of a paint-like look to it. And I'm going to go ahead and just stab it a little bit. Maybe around the edges of where the sidewalk is cracked a little bit, or maybe here around the smoke. This might even be too subtle for the camera. I'll put some there. And that's it. Maybe, I'll try to go a little lighter so you can see it. Well, actually look right there. You see that right there? You can see the dry pigment is already drying back to like a dry look. So I think that's probably fine. Oh yeah, it's drying. So you see those like dusty spots? Now we can actually take our brush too and kind of blend them a little bit because they kind of pooled up. We're just kind of wiping them around a little bit. They look not great in the little warning thing, the watch your step spot. Yeah, there you go. So we can kind of scrub in those pigments. And it's just like a little extra detail. You can get like a concrete color, or it's really nice on bricks. if you do get like a rust color, or they even make like Secret Weapon makes a brick one. So if you have like a brick basing, you can see here. Oh, actually, I have a whole. So yeah, this is a whole container just for doing the kind of red Mars brick look. So there you go. That's a fun little thing with the dry pigments. And I think we should be good on the pumpkins. So let's go ahead and panel line around the hands and we're just going to do the smoke completely. Oh, I can see it's still wet, but whatever, it'll mix. That's fine. It'll be fun. So yeah, we'll just panel line. Could use like Nuln Oil or something here. Oh, darn it. I got it on the pumpkin. Maybe I can wipe it with my thumb. Yeah, it's fine. Got it on the pumpkin, who cares? Because actually, I wouldn't mind panel lining around where his hand is touching the pumpkin anyway. And we will re-darken the pumpkin eyes. Yeah, technically maybe the eyes should be the brightest part if there's like a flame coming from inside them. But I kind of like the classic Halloween black and orange pumpkin look. There we go. I think that is a finished enough anyway. Green Goblin. You know what? Actually, I think we could probably put a little bit more panel liner on his eyes. Try to really darken his eyes. Ooh, that might have been too much. Let's try to get that off. There we go. That's not bad. So we just put that really dark, basically in the corner of the eye towards the nose, the inner corner of the eye. Yeah, now you can see he's got a little bit of kind of dusty look on the sidewalk. He's got some smoke, a little bit of a fire effect. The pumpkins are pretty simple, just a little glow. We'll let them dry with that panel liner. That'll take a little longer. And then maybe just clean up a little bit of highlight on the faces of the pumpkins. Put like a yellow orange highlight on there, just because they're basically faces and weapons are what people look at. Faces, weapons, shields. So the pumpkins are faces, even though, well, they're weapons and they're faces. So it's worth it to put a little extra highlighting on the face part of each pumpkin, like how we put the extra color in his teeth or lips or chin or eyeballs or whatever, because people are probably going to just pick him up and look right at his face, look at the pumpkins, and then set them down and never look at them again. So that's the curse of what we do for painting little miniatures, but we get all the fun of looking at them because that's what we do. We stare at them and paint tiny little models. So hopefully you enjoyed that one. More or less he's done. Oh, I guess we'll also go through once he's completely dry and I'll repaint the black base. Plus the Marvel miniatures, they have like this little lip you can see there. So I usually paint that black too, which you got to be a little more steady on. Instead of just like a Games Workshop where you can just hit the side. But yeah, I think he's done. So finished up. This guy's still got to be based. I'll just show you. Got him. We did him in the last stream. He's pretty subtle, some of the color shifts and stuff, so he's hard to tell without being, because I can't zoom in because I'm not good at this. And then we got him. So that's two models, two like character models done. That's not too bad. Once they're varnished too, they're going to look real sharp. I promise. Let's finish up. I think what is tempting about trying oils. Yeah, so have you watched James Wapple paint the models in oils, and he takes these sponges and puts all the oil paint on them, and then he wipes it all away with these sponges, and then kind of just puts these real little tiny brush strokes, and it kind of all blends together. If you've seen him do that, pull up one of his videos where he does it with like the contrast paints and stuff, which is actually what I did on him, just kind of working wet into wet. And you're basically putting on the contrast paints and wiping them away, keeping your brush wet, your surfaces somewhat wet. And yeah, it's a fun way to do it. One thing with the oils is you get kind of this free blending going on because each surface, each brush stroke is somewhat blending with the previous brush stroke. So you can really knock out some smoother blends, maybe faster if you're interested in that. Also, your wet palette, which you could just use like a piece of glass or whatever, would be wet for a very long time if you want. And I think the key on the miniatures would be to keep your oil paint layers very thin. Probably way, way, way thinner than you think. So maybe keeping like a paper towel handy, putting the paint on your brush and giving it a couple little swipes on the towel just to remove any excess oil, because that's what's going to slow down the drying so much. But yeah, I've messed around with the oil paints a little bit here and there, but sometimes I find them a little tedious or whatever on the models. I think I actually prefer the acrylics on the models. Although in fine art, I think oil painting is king, and an acrylic painting doesn't really compare. But all right, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. I don't know if I'm gonna do another stream tonight. It's only 1:30, but I might just listen to a podcast and do a little bit more painting while these guys dry, and then maybe I'll get them varnished tonight. So thank you guys so much for joining the chat. Okay, yeah, the panel is enamel. Good. I was wondering if it was water-based or not, but I've never used it with an actual paintbrush. So yeah, I guess if you maybe keep some rubbing alcohol nearby. Thank you so much, man, for watching. I appreciate it. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out the Ghost Tiny Kickstarter live right now, here's some of them. Awesome little set of detail paintbrushes. You saw me using them. You don't need them for every brush stroke or nothing, but it's fun to just pick up those little things and pick out those little details, especially like a character like this. I mean, you can't even see his face, but he's got a lot of little detail in his face for that model, and it's kind of nice just being able to kind of put those little details and dots where they need to go. So thank you guys again, and I'll see you in the next one. Maybe I can get another stream going tomorrow night. Adios. Oh, and I'll get a picture of Green Goblin here so the thumbnail looks better. Like and subscribe.